In our last discussion, we talked about how AI search is changing the future of digital marketing and completely transforming the way consumers find information online. But one of the biggest consequences of that shift is something many businesses are only beginning to understand. Traditional SEO, the strategy businesses relied on for years to generate traffic and leads, is slowly losing its power. For a long time, ranking on search engines was one of the most reliable ways to grow online. Businesses focused on keywords, backlinks, blog content, and website optimization because the formula was simple. The higher you ranked, the more traffic you received, and the more traffic you received, the more opportunities you had to generate sales. But today, that formula is no longer working the way it once did. Search engines have evolved, consumer behavior has changed, and artificial intelligence is beginning to reshape how search results are delivered altogether. Many businesses are still following outdated SEO playbooks, believing the same strategies will continue producing the same results. But the truth is, the landscape is shifting right in front of them. If you like this video, please share it with your friends and someone who can get help from it. It will also encourage me to create more videos for you. Thank you. In this video, we are going to break down exactly why traditional SEO is dying, what is causing that shift, and what smart businesses are doing differently to stay ahead before everyone else catches on. For years, businesses believed that ranking on the first page of search engines was the ultimate goal. If you could rank high enough, traffic would naturally come, and if traffic came, business growth would follow. That belief shaped the way marketers approach digital strategy for over a decade. But the reality today is very different. Simply ranking high on search engines no longer guarantees the same results it once did. Search result pages have become crowded, competitive, and filled with distractions that now stand between businesses and the clicks they used to receive. Paid advertisements appear first. Map listings dominate local searches, featured snippets answer questions instantly, video results capture attention quickly, and AI-generated summaries are beginning to provide users direct answers before they ever reach website links. What this means is that even if your business technically ranks near the top, users may never scroll far enough to click your website. Businesses are learning the hard way that ranking and visibility are no longer the same thing. You can rank well and still lose traffic simply because the way search results are presented has fundamentally changed. That shift is making traditional SEO far less predictable and far less powerful than it once was. One of the biggest reasons SEO is losing effectiveness is because of what marketers now call zero-click searches. This is when users search for something online, find the answer immediately on the search results page, and never click through to any website at all. Think about how often this happens in your own life. You search for weather, business hours, quick definitions, directions, statistics, or common questions, and the answer appears instantly without requiring you to visit another page. Search engines are intentionally designing their platforms this way because their goal is to keep users on their platform longer and provide the fastest experience possible. But while that may benefit the user, it creates a major challenge for businesses. If users get what they need immediately, they have less reason to visit websites, which means businesses lose traffic opportunities even when their content helps provide the answer. Many businesses today are seeing impressions increase while clicks decrease because their information is being viewed but not visited. This shift is changing one of the most fundamental assumptions of SEO, that visibility automatically leads to traffic. In many cases now, visibility no longer means clicks. If zero-click search started the shift, artificial intelligence is accelerating it dramatically. AI-powered search tools are taking search one step further by not just previewing information, but by summarizing, combining, and directly answering user questions in complete conversational responses. Instead of asking users to browse multiple websites and compare information themselves, AI now does the work for them instantly. This means users are beginning to rely less on traditional search behavior and more on direct AI-generated answers. They are asking full questions instead of typing short keywords, expecting immediate explanations instead of browsing options, and trusting AI to simplify the information gathering process. That changes the entire foundation of traditional SEO because businesses are no longer competing only for rankings. They are competing to become part of the information AI systems choose to reference. And that requires a completely different approach than old SEO strategies built around keyword placement and backlink building. AI is not just improving search, it is completely redefining how people discover information online. Another major reason traditional SEO is dying is because the internet has become oversaturated with content. Every day, millions of new blog posts, landing pages, articles, and web pages are published online, all competing for the same attention, the same rankings, and the same keywords. In many industries, nearly every obvious SEO topic has already been written about hundreds or even thousands of times. That means simply publishing another generic article targeting the same keyword is no longer enough to stand out. Businesses are now competing in an environment where everyone is creating content, everyone is optimizing for search, and everyone is trying to rank. As a result, the bar for success has become much higher. To stand out today, businesses need stronger strategy, better expertise, deeper content quality, and more unique value than ever before. Traditional SEO used to reward consistency alone. Now it rewards excellence, originality, and authority. The game has become far more competitive, and businesses using outdated SEO tactics are quickly realizing that what once worked is no longer enough. Another major shift that many businesses are starting to feel, but often don't fully understand, is how much longer SEO now takes to deliver real results. In the past, SEO often felt like a relatively predictable growth strategy. Businesses could publish optimized content, build backlinks, and within a reasonable time frame, begin seeing improvements in rankings and traffic. There was a sense of momentum, a feeling that effort would translate into visible outcomes. But today, that timeline has stretched significantly. With increased competition, evolving algorithms, and changing user behavior, SEO has become a much slower process. Many businesses now invest months of effort before seeing meaningful traction, and even then, results are not always guaranteed. This creates a challenge, especially for businesses that depend on consistent lead flow. When growth is delayed, frustration builds and uncertainty increases. The reality is that SEO is no longer a quick growth channel. It is a long-term investment that requires patience, consistency, and strategic thinking. And for businesses that rely only on SEO, that delay can become a serious limitation in today's fast-moving market. At the same time, another risk is becoming more visible: overdependence on SEO as the primary source of growth. For many businesses, SEO has been the foundation of their marketing strategy for years. It brought traffic, leads, and consistent visibility. But what happens when that single source becomes unstable? Search platforms constantly evolve, algorithms change, and new features are introduced that can shift visibility overnight. Businesses that rely only on SEO often find themselves vulnerable to changes they cannot control. One update, one shift in ranking behavior, or one new search feature can significantly impact performance. This creates a fragile system where growth depends on external decisions. That's why modern businesses are starting to diversify their approach. Instead of relying on one channel, they are building presence across multiple platforms, combining SEO with video, social media, paid strategies, and direct audience engagement. This creates stability, reduces risk, and ensures that growth does not depend on a single point of failure. In today's environment, diversification is no longer optional. It is necessary. Another important shift that is quietly reshaping SEO is the way people actually search for information today. In the past, search behavior was relatively simple and predictable. Users would type short keywords, scan through a list of results, and choose a link that seemed relevant enough. That process worked well when information was limited and choices were fewer. But today, that behavior has changed significantly. Users are no longer just searching, they are expecting answers. They are asking more detailed questions, looking for specific solutions, and expecting content that feels directly relevant to their situation. And when they don't find that quickly, they simply move on. This creates a challenge for businesses still relying on broad, generic content strategies, because content that tries to speak to everyone often ends up connecting with no one. Businesses now need to go deeper. They need to understand not just what people search for, but why they search, what problem they are trying to solve, and what kind of answer they truly expect. SEO is no longer just about matching keywords. It is about understanding intent at a much deeper level and responding with content that feels precise, helpful, and genuinely valuable. Along with all these changes in search behavior and content competition, another factor is becoming increasingly important: trust. And this is where many businesses start to struggle without even realizing it. Because in the past, ranking on search engines was often enough to create credibility in the eyes of users. If you appeared at the top, people assumed you were the best option. But that assumption no longer holds true today. Modern consumers are far more aware, more cautious, and more selective in how they make decisions. They don't just rely on search rankings, they look for proof. They check reviews, explore social media presence, watch videos, and look for signals that show whether a business is truly credible or not. And if they don't find that confidence, they move on quickly. At the same time, AI-driven search systems are also prioritizing trusted and authoritative sources when presenting information. This means businesses must go beyond visibility and start building real credibility, because in today's environment, being seen is not enough. You also need to be trusted. So when you step back and look at everything happening together, it becomes clear that SEO is not simply disappearing, but it is evolving into something much bigger than it used to be. And this is where many businesses misunderstand the situation. They think SEO is dying, when in reality, it is transforming into a more advanced and integrated part of digital marketing. Traditional SEO focused heavily on rankings, keywords, and technical optimization. But modern SEO goes far beyond that. It now includes content quality, user experience, brand authority, trust signals, and visibility across multiple platforms. It requires businesses to think more strategically, not just technically. And the businesses that recognize this shift early are the ones that will stay ahead. Because the future of SEO is no longer about chasing rankings. It is about building a presence that people recognize, trust, and choose consistently. SEO is no longer just a tactic. It is becoming part of a much larger growth strategy that defines how businesses compete online. One of the biggest opportunities emerging from this shift in SEO is the growing importance of personal branding, and this is where many businesses still hesitate, because for years, marketing was mostly about the brand itself, the logo, the website, the company name. But today, that is no longer enough. People are no longer just buying from businesses. They are choosing who they trust. They want to know who is behind the brand, who is sharing the knowledge, and who they are actually learning from. And when that connection is missing, trust becomes harder to build. This is why personal branding is becoming such a powerful advantage. When a business owner or expert consistently shares insights, explains ideas, and communicates openly with their audience, it creates familiarity, and over time, that familiarity turns into trust. People begin to recognize your voice, your thinking, and your expertise. And when that happens, decisions become easier. In a world where AI is making information easily available, human connection becomes the real differentiator. Businesses that combine strong branding with a visible personal presence will always have an edge. Along with personal branding, another major shift businesses cannot ignore is the growing dominance of video content. And this is something many businesses are still slow to adopt, because creating video feels more effort, more exposure, and sometimes more uncomfortable compared to writing or posting static content. But the reality is, user behavior is already shifting toward video in a very clear way. People are choosing to watch instead of read. They want faster understanding, clearer explanations, and content that feels more human. And video delivers exactly that. It allows businesses to explain ideas with clarity, show personality, and build trust in a much shorter amount of time. When someone watches your content, they don't just understand what you do, they start to understand how you think, and that builds a much stronger connection. Platforms are also pushing video more aggressively, which means businesses that adopt it early gain a visibility advantage. In today's environment, video is no longer optional. It is becoming one of the most effective ways to stay relevant and competitive. As traditional SEO continues to lose its dominance, another approach is becoming far more powerful, and that is education-based marketing. And this is where many businesses still operate the old way. They focus heavily on selling, promoting, and pushing their services, hoping that visibility alone will generate results. But today, that approach is becoming less effective because modern consumers don't want to be sold to immediately. They want to understand first. They want clarity, confidence, and value before making a decision. This is where education becomes powerful. When you consistently teach your audience, answer their questions, and help them solve real problems, you build trust naturally. And that trust creates long-term advantage. People begin to see your brand as helpful, knowledgeable, and reliable. And when the time comes to choose a service or solution, they are far more likely to choose someone they already trust. In today's environment, the businesses that win are not the ones that sell the most aggressively. They are the ones that educate the most consistently. The biggest mistake businesses can make right now is assuming that they still have time to wait. And this is more common than most people realize. Many businesses see these changes happening. They hear about AI, evolving search, and shifting strategies, but they don't act. They assume it's something they can deal with later. But the reality is, this shift is already happening right now. Consumer behavior is already changing. Search platforms are already evolving. And businesses that delay adapting are not standing still. They are slowly falling behind. The longer the delay, the harder it becomes to catch up. Because competitors who start early begin building authority, visibility, and trust over time. And that advantage compounds. The smartest businesses are not waiting for the perfect moment. They are starting now, learning as they go, and adapting step by step. Because in a fast-changing environment, early action always beats late perfection. Traditional SEO is not disappearing overnight, but it is clearly changing in ways that businesses can no longer ignore. The strategies that once worked consistently are becoming less reliable, while new approaches focused on authority, trust, and multi-platform presence are taking their place. And this is where the opportunity lies, because every major shift creates two types of businesses, those that adapt early and those that struggle later. The businesses that understand this change now and begin adjusting their strategy today will be the ones that build long-term advantage. They will be easier to find, easier to trust, and easier to choose. But those who continue relying only on outdated methods may find themselves losing visibility without fully understanding why. So if you are serious about growing your business, now is the time to rethink your approach and start building a strategy that is ready for the future. If you found this video valuable, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay connected, because we will continue breaking down the strategies shaping the future of digital marketing right here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.